Welcome back to Finding the Next Step, where I take the self-improvement and productivity advice that's out there and apply it to a real-world application. The application is to change the world with math, and today we're going to cover how to make dreams come true. So making a dream come true means that you're taking a dream, which lives in this sort of fantasy dream world, and you're bringing it down into the real world. The hard part about this is these two worlds are very different, and they don't exactly match up. As a mathematician, this is something that I'm used to because I work with math, and math exists, if you will, in its own math world, which is also separate from the real world. So I'm trying to go between the real world and math world, just like making a dream come true would be moving between the dream world and the real world. So as an example of how this works between the real world and math world that is simple to understand, take driving time. So if you have to go 60 miles and the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, then in math world, that would take you 1 hour. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's an exact answer. Done. But in the real world, there's a lot of other problems. You can have traffic, a flat tire, you might not always exactly go 60 miles an hour. So these things all add up to not exactly arriving in an hour all the time because the real world's imprecise. And if you try to use math to get an exact answer to every driving estimate that you could ever possibly have, it's not going to work because math can't predict flat tires and all these other things all the time. So the big problem when working with math is trying to make it an exact representation for the real world. And so I think this also applies to dreams because when we take dreams and try to move them into the real world, we try to make them exactly as we have seen them in the dream world, and that's not always possible. So I think a key point is to stay away from trying to solve unsolvable problems. And that's often what I think people get caught up with when they try to make their dreams come true. Just like with the driving example, if you try to predict every single driving time under any possible conditions that may happen, you're never going to foresee flat tires and all these other things. It's not going to happen. So you're going to wear out and you're going to spend all your time not getting to an answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to start somewhere very simple, and from there, just build and be content with that. Be content with the journey. And if we continue to build, then over time, things will get better and better until we get somewhere that is really pleasant to be. So that's how I'm going to look at this whole dream into reality scenario. And I think that for this, the easiest way to start out was just to take the most obvious things I could think of. So if I'm going to change the world with math, look to things that already are using math in the world right now. So when I think of that in the most obvious way, the first thing that came to mind was the news. So I went through the news and I did find a math topic that seemed to come up a lot, which is probability and statistics, because there's a lot of studies. Medical studies, political studies, all these studies everywhere. So that's a topic that may be of interest. If there could be some improvement there, that might help to change the world with math. The second thing that I thought of was if it's something that's really world changing, then someone should be willing to pay for it. So I thought to look through job postings. So in the job postings, I picked out data science since that's a popular field right now. And that's something that is really clear to see that there's an impact on because we have a lot of data out there and trying to analyze it manually is just not really possible because there's just too much of it. So we need help from math and computers to do that. And the third example that I picked out was something that I thought of a long time ago that I really would like to do, and that is improving software design with math. And that's not something that I think is really going on a lot right now, but it's just a thought that I had that I would really like to do. So I looked into each of these three things, and I also focused on fun. And so one thing that I really keyed in on was the data science, because something that interested me about it was that these job postings are really just a database. So they're just a lot of data. And you could theoretically use data science on the data science jobs. So I thought to myself, how cool would it be if you could use data science to find a data science job? And I looked that up on YouTube and I didn't see anything out there on it. So I think that'll be the next video. Hopefully it's a fun one, and hopefully this moves things forward.